Hello, and welcome to our webinar all about building a marketing plan and budget for your medical aesthetics practice. My name is Shaila Kanji, and I'm with Lift Aesthetic Marketing, and I'm really excited to talk to you about this topic because it's really about the why you should have a marketing plan, how to start building your plan if you don't have one, or how to pivot it if you already do have a plan, how to budget around your plan, and of course, getting team buy-in towards what you're doing. We all have limited time and resources, so having a plan is sort of the best course of action. So let's get right into it. A little bit about me: I have worked with numerous medical aesthetic practices across North America, and what we get to do is help our clients build their brands, their online presence, increase online market share, and of course, the most important thing, attracting new patients. So I like to think of it as I get to help people help even more people. I get to help providers and practitioners find that ideal end user, that ideal patient, and work on a plan to get more of them. So nothing better than that. I've also been involved in building our own business, building our brand. So it's a topic that I love chatting about and discussing. So let's get right into it. I want to start with the what. What is a strategy? When you look at strategy, it's really the allocation of limited time, energy, and resources towards generating a desired outcome, towards those activities that will generate a desired outcome. So strategy is about what we're saying yes to, but just as important is what we're saying no to. I like to liken this to you as a provider. You may not be the right provider for every single type of patient, and that's okay. So really, when we're building a marketing plan and we're building a strategy, we're understanding what our desired outcomes are, and of course, what we are omitting from our plan as well. At our agency, we have a analogy, and we call it $100, 100 hours. And that's just basically saying we have limited resources and we have limited time. Where are we spending our time? What are those big initiatives, those big objectives that are going to get our attention and our time? And then understanding that will help us build our plan and our roadmap to success. So why? What is the why behind a marketing plan? I've talked to many clients who say, well, I don't have a marketing plan. Do I need one? Why do I need one? And I think if you're clinical, your day to day is focused on treatment and you're working within the business. You're not necessarily working on the business. And so, what we like to do, even as an agency, as a business, we like to take some clarity breaks. We like to take some time to understand where the business is going. What are our strategic objectives? We like to say that reactionary planning is counterintuitive. So you want to plan ahead to get ahead. As well, if you're making decisions or if things are changing in the landscape, of your business, your marketing plan becomes your guiding light when evaluating crucial business decisions. So things like if you're bringing in new technology, new team members, perhaps you're expanding, having a marketing plan with key metrics is going to keep your business on track. So let's start there. When we're making a plan, we also want to understand, of course, where we are today, but we want to understand the future. Where is our industry going to be in 5 to 10 years? You might be attending different trade shows or industry events. You might be talking to your team, and you want to understand, what does this industry look like in 5 to 10 years from now? It's currently 2023. I don't know how long this video will be up on the internet, but 5 years ago looked a lot different. Buyer habits were a lot different. Consumer habits were a lot different. So I think, of course, there's a lot of unpredicted things that can happen, but we want to start understanding where the trends are and where things are going, and then building that as part of our plan. An example of this is, 5 years from now, I mean, look at how much online shopping and retail has changed online. And so our habits have changed online. So we really want to focus our plan on making things easy for our current clientele and what they're looking for and what makes their lives easier. So a big step in your strategy is to look at your current state. What goals exist for your practice? we like to, like I said, we like to call it a clarity break, and we like to really understand what is our baseline, what is our current state. Take that time to work on your business, step away for a little bit, and write this all out. Talk to your finance team, your accountant, and look at your trailing 12. What have your gross margins been? What are your net margins? What has your revenue been? Look at the patterns in your business, seasonal patterns, things like that. Understanding your high revenue services versus your perhaps more gateway services that initially bring people in. Another thing you want to look at is the split between your medical services versus your retail products and your retail components. So understanding your baseline and where things are sitting currently will set the stage for where you're at now and where you want to go. The other important thing is to focus on who your current clients are right now. What is that demographic? How old are they? Where do they live? Geographic areas. Where do they come from? What coffee do they drink? What car do they drive? Understand your current clients right now, and then understand how you're currently reaching them. You might already be investing in a marketing strategy, and you might be employing various tactics to get clients in the door. How are you doing that? It could be through email marketing, social media. Perhaps you have really great signage. You might be running some digital ads. So this is part of your baseline assessment of your business. Who are those current clients and how are you reaching them? And then perhaps you have some costs associated to reaching your current client. So what does that look like? What are you spending to acquire a new patient right now, as well as retaining existing ones? So write all this out. I encourage you to do this with your team. Take some time. I would even say every quarter, and map this out. What does this look like today? Then I want you to think about 3 years from now. Today we are at 2023. What does 2026 look like? What is that ideal outcome for the business look like? Do you have different types of clients in the door? Do you have more than one location, multiple locations? How big is your team? Really map out what that looks like. What will that revenue be? What will your profit be, your gross profit margin? And then, of course, what does your client demographic look like 3 years from now? If we start with 3 years, 3 years is ideal, but then we want to backdate to 1 year, because if we're planning it out, we want to work incrementally to understand what 1 year will look like towards our 3 year plan. So write all this out. This becomes sort of the baseline of the plan 3 years from now. And then if we're working towards our 3 year, what does that 1 year look like? So write all these figures out. Now that we've set a baseline for our business and we know where we want to go, let's determine our objectives. And there's two main objectives we like to look at. It's either generating leads for today or building the brand for tomorrow. Between these two objectives, we associate different budgets, different outcomes, different tactics. So we want to look at the landscape of our business and understand, are we really building, more volume and more leads for today? Or are we really focusing more on the branding for tomorrow? And it's going to be a combination of both, but look at the life cycle of your business depending on where you are and what you're looking to achieve. So looking at this specifically, lead generation tactics are a lot more about building the business for today. So these campaigns are meant to get in front of patients who are in market right now. They're either making searches online, they're asking a friend, they're reading reviews, they have an immediate need that they're looking for a solution to. Whereas there's patients of tomorrow who don't have the immediate need, but they would be an ideal patient for us in the future. So how are you getting in front of those types of people so that you are top of mind when they are ready to enter that buying cycle and convert? We always like to say that we want to create a demand in order to capture a demand. So think about that. And what it comes down to is the who. Who is our ideal customer? Who are we trying to bring more of into the practice? And I would do this as an activity. Think about your ideal patient. If this patient you could see all day, every day, who are they? You might even know who they are already. Maybe you have them on text. Maybe they just came into your practice. And start to write out a little bit about them. What makes them desirable? You know, how do they find out about your practice and what keeps them there? And if you can, I would encourage you to actually reach out to them and start to understand your ideal patient and what makes them that way, what makes them choose you, and what is valuable to them about your practice that keeps them loyal. Work on this activity with your team, and you might start to see that you have, a few different customer personas. So understanding the who behind who you're trying to get your message in front of is important. And then we want to understand that patient's cycle, that patient buyer journey. This is all about where a patient goes from not knowing you exist to now knowing you exist, knowing that you are a choice in the market for them. And so the buyer journey is really about understanding that tipping point of getting a patient from being unaware of you, now they're aware of you, and then now you're piquing their interest and you're guiding them through your sales funnel through different messaging, different tactics. At the very end of this patient journey, it's all about making things easy for them to convert. Do your patients like calling? Do they like texting? Do they like, is it easy to book online? What makes it easiest for your patients to take the path of least resistance, to take action? And we are all consumers. We've all been through this buying journey where we make a buying decision, and generally we make buying decisions to make life easier, to make life better. So think about your clients, your ideal client, and what decisions do they have to go through to, decide to choose you and come back to you, and what are their pain points? So start to understand this, and you're going to start to understand the psychology of your patients, and why they make the decisions that they do. So let's break this cycle down a little bit. The awareness phase is really where we start building the brand, and it's about becoming recognizable. Trying to get to patients who don't know about us yet. Think about someone moving to a new area, for example. Let's say someone moves to the area your practice is located in, and they're an ideal candidate for you, an ideal patient. How are you getting in front of them? If you're not saying anything, no one hears you. So I think we have to understand how you're getting your messaging out there. What tactics are you using to get in front of patients so that they go from that tipping point, not knowing you, to now knowing you? And then you might want to tie this into your main service offering, tying in the fact that you exist with what you're able to offer. Now that a patient has gone through sort of they might have seen you somewhere, they might have clicked something, now you've piqued their interest. Now they're considering a need that they have and they're doing some research. What is driving that patient to research you and look into what their options are? They may have not made their mind up yet, but they are considering their options. So at this point, you actually may be one of a few options that they're looking into, and they're doing their research. So at this point, we want to understand what is your unique selling proposition as a business that's going to pique your patient's interest. And during the decision phase, this is where they might be deciding between you and someone else. And what we want to do is make it easy. Make it easy to choose you. This comes down to something as easy as making your phone button clickable on your website, or making it really easy to book a consultation, or someone always picks up the phone. Whatever it is that your patients, how they like to contact you, you've made it easy for them, and they're able to follow that path of least resistance to make their decision. And of course, the endpoint there is the conversion. So this might be an offer, maybe it's easy appointment times, maybe it's that scarcity factor, limited offerings, limited availability, whatever that is to help a patient convert. Use those tactics to bring people in the door. So let's look at that buying journey, and pay attention to where customers might be stopping in that journey. Perhaps if you're getting a lot of clicks to your website, but people are not necessarily converting or making that final phone call or booking in or inquiring, why could that be? So really pay attention to where people are along this journey in finding you, and make sure you're able to focus on areas and strategies to push them through that buyer journey. So let's look at some tactics for each of these segments. The first is really like, how do you build awareness? it's a very research oriented industry. So people are always doing their research. They're looking into providers. This is a fun fact. The About Us page on your website becomes the second most visited page outside of your homepage. And what this tells us as marketers is that people care about who their providers are. They're looking into their providers. They want to make sure that they trust their providers. People will do a lot of research on symptom based, like what their conditions are, what they're looking for. They might not necessarily understand the benefits and features of some technology that you have, but they know that pain point that they have and they're doing their research. So something like SEO, search engine optimization, is key here, because you are able to optimize your website to show up for consumer searches. Something like YouTube is really key here, because YouTube, you can do great pre-roll ads and really get in front of your ideal patient. There's a really great tactic between using Google's data and being able to market on YouTube. So that's a tactic we employ. It's called custom intent audiences, and you can actually leverage Google's search data and use that data to serve a YouTube ad. So it's some pretty cool things that you can do to get in front of the type of patient that is already looking for you. And then things like social ads are great, Facebook ads, Instagram ads, because again, people are on social media, so you want to appear on social media. And then you can target those ads in a way that they are specifically targeting that demographic, that age group, those interests. So play around with these tactics and these strategies to develop awareness about your brand. Things like display. So we call these like digital display ads. Could be on Google Display, Facebook, the Facebook network, geofence ads. These are some of those banner ads that you might see on the internet when you're scrolling and you're like, oh, what is this? It's more to generate awareness and start generating or guiding people through that interest phase. They're doing their research, they found you, they're clicking through, and you're showing up for them. Next, the decision phase. This is when people are doing their research. They finally kind of evaluated their decisions. They're looking to make a decision to move forward. Make it easy. Does your website have all the information? Is it answering their questions? Is your website user-friendly? Is it clickable? Is it responsive on multiple devices? So pay attention to this. And then, of course, an extension to your website are your social media platforms. So a lot of times we see people going from a website and they head over to social media to kind of evaluate their decision, or vice versa. They might have found you on social media and then they're checking out your website. So make sure that the two are synonymous within their strategies. Your website and social media should be very aligned. And then PPC stands for pay-per-click. These are Google ads. So this is where people are searching intentionally for what they're looking for. They might see an ad, making sure that that ad is landing appropriately on your website where it should go. So if someone is searching about microneedling, don't let them land on the home page. Land on the microneedling page so that the user journey is intentional and it guides them appropriately. And then, of course, nothing beats online reviews, because we all do it. We read reviews, we trust reviews. So making sure you have a great reputation management strategy is key as well. And then finally, taking action. CTA, that stands for call to action. So what are you asking your prospects to do? Are you asking them to pick up the phone? Are you asking them to fill out a form on your website, book through your third-party software, or maybe you're wanting them to walk in or attend an event? Make it clear. I have seen I see an ad out there somewhere and I'm interested in something and I click through and there's no action to take, and suddenly I'm bouncing, I'm lost, I'm not sure what I even clicked on, and I know we've all done that. So make it clear where you want your audience to go and what action you want them to take. Email marketing, another great strategy, especially since the pandemic. We've seen that, people are interested in what their businesses or their, vendors that they're working with have to say. So email marketing is great because there's great sort of action to be taken on email. It's usually very directive, and you're usually specifically providing an offer or a service, and you're asking the audience to do a certain thing on email marketing. So Make these strategies easy for people to find their way, especially if you capture their interest, they click through, it's easy to take action and they can move forward accordingly. So let's get into classifying marketing correctly and dive right into budget. Sometimes we hear that marketing is an expense line. Marketing is not an expense. An expense is something like utilities or business insurance, something that you have to spend but may not deliver a return. Marketing is an investable expense. The expectation is when you invest in marketing, you're expecting to deliver a higher return on that investment. We put $1 in, we expect to get $3 or $4 or $5 out of it. I understand that it can be frustrating when if you're not sure if it's working or you're not. It's hard to sort of attribute the success behind marketing, but this is where I encourage you to dial into the tactics and the strategy that you've put into place. Understand the marketing tactics that you're utilizing, why you're using them, so that you can understand the full story of your marketing plan, what it's delivering back to you, and how you're able to attribute the revenue coming into the practice to some of the marketing that you're doing. So dial into these KPIs, understand your marketing strategy, how many new patients you're getting, how much revenue does it drive, spend the time, do the due diligence, and understand the expectation out of your marketing. A lot of times we're looking at marketing as little tactics that we're trying here and there. Understand the full plan and how it all works together to deliver that return. Believe in your investment. So when you're making that investment, believe in it. Typically, we like to see a 3 to 5 times return on our dollar invested. So think about putting an ad out there, and if it's tied to a whole strategy, and we've put out an ad, and we've spent $100 on that, and we're getting $300, $400, $500 back. That's not unrealistic. That's great. That's one patient in the door, and we're expecting a lot more than one patient from one of those ads. So it's not unrealistic, and believe in that investment that you are making into your practice. We like to use the analogy of a sports car when we think of our marketing strategy. Your sports car is only going to take you as far as the gas that you put into it. So think of your 3-year plan as your sports car. That 3-year plan is that investment that you're making into your practice. And if you don't have the fuel to get there, to get that car to the final destination, if you've planned this amazing vacation, but we haven't fueled the vehicle to get us there, that's when things can unrealistic expectations, or we thought we were able to get to our plan, but we haven't fueled it enough. So one of the biggest mistakes we see is we're not actually, we have this whole plan, but that we're not able to invest into it. So understand what that is. Your car's performance is only as good as the fuel that you put into it. So understand that. And then trust your estimate. Calculate your budget based on real figures. If you're an established practice, you're maybe able to invest a little bit more. And now you're really curating the kind of patient you're getting in the door. You're able to change the sort of makeup of your practice. One example of this is I've chatted with various surgeons who are getting a little bit more into non-surgical options. And when I ask them, why do you do that? I mean, your revenue's in your surgery. And they say, yes, but I'm investing in getting my more word out there in terms of non-surgical options, because that is the future, and that is where if I'm able to have a succession plan and I can sell my practice eventually, I want to be able to have the right kind of patient makeup in the door, not just surgical patients, but also non-surgical patients. So they're understanding that they're marketing for the future of their practice. If you're sort of a startup practice, you're maybe doing some more grassroots type marketing. And then also when you're investing in your business and in your marketing, it's not just for you in the business, it's also for your employees. So I actually like to look at our agency as doing this. We typically invest a lot back into our business, into our employees, into continuing education, into our culture. And really, it's building our employees and our team to stay with us and continue learning and growing with us rather than growing out of the business. So investing back into the business will be a huge part of your growth trajectory. And then finally, over time, you can always adjust your numbers based on tangible results. So if something's working, you can double down on that. If something's not quite working, you can scale back. You can really pivot and edit your marketing plan to make it work for what is generating results in your practice. So find the things that work for your business. And then if you're curious how much, this is a great tool that we've actually put up on our website for you. If you're curious on how much you should invest, what you should be investing into marketing, you can actually head over to our website. Under the resources, we do have a marketing calculator. Our internal marketing team did a great job of putting this together. If you're not sure how to use it, contact me. I'd love to go through this exercise with you. We can build this plan together and really understand what you should be investing into your marketing budget. So let's look back a little bit and tie this all together. Really, we want to look at where our business life cycle is. And if you have a marketing budget, let's call it 2,000 a month for easy math. And we're doing a lot more lead generation. We might be spending about 75% of our marketing budget on lead generation tactics, things that are going to get in front of patients that are in market, that are searching, that are looking for a solution right now. Whereas branding for tomorrow will be building our brand, building our content strategies, building, YouTube content, social media content, that sort of thing for tomorrow, so that when people are doing the research on us, we are showing up and we are visible. Depending on the life cycle of your practice, this might be flipped. You might be doing less on lead generation. You might be quite booked up, but you really want to stay visible and online for people. So really understanding, the balance of your objectives will be important when it comes to building your plan. So let's sum this all up. Really, it's all about, you have your plan, now it's about execution. So what are some of the things you want to put into place? Assign accountability. They say when you assign things to more than one person, it's no one's accountability. So one person needs to be accountable to assessing the marketing plan and staying accountable to it, dedicating your budget to it. So really understanding how much how much are you spending. Use that calculator. That's a great place to start. And then working ahead, planning ahead is key. The last thing we want to do is, wondering what we're doing next month. The ideal timeline is about 3 months ahead. Create all the material ahead of time. If something comes up, totally fine. We can always pivot, but create the plan and the materials three months ahead of time. And then alignment is key. So I told you about some of those quarterly strategy meetings that we have. I would encourage you to do the same. Get team buy-in, share, be transparent with your goals, share the goals of the practice with the rest of the team so that everyone is bought in and alignment is had there. And then a huge part of employing a marketing strategy is do not set and forget. Hold your marketing team accountable. When you have a plan in place, that's something you can always go back to and understand where you are in that trajectory. So keep your marketing team accountable, and then have that open discussion on what the future campaigns look like. Set the meetings as standing meetings. That's what we do with our clients. We ask them to book with us. If it's a Friday afternoon that that our clients prefer, that's what we'll make work. So set some standing meetings so that it's not something to do, it's just a habit. It's something you have in your schedule. I like to say that our favorite clients, I won't say this, but I'll say this, our favorite clients are the ones that are bought in. They are bought into the marketing. They want to make it work. They understand the importance of it, and they're showing up and they're understanding the metrics we're going through. So marketing is a team sport. So lastly, I will share with you that we have some great educational resources on our website. So I encourage you to take a look. They're free to download. Go ahead and check them out. Download them all and then let me know what you think. And then I have a final tip. Invest in creating true differentiation between you and your direct competitors, and then tell your story effectively. That is the secret of your marketing plan. Thank you so much, everyone, for taking the time to listen to my webinar. The sun has set behind me during the duration of this webinar, but I really appreciate you being here. Please reach out to me if you have any questions. My email is on the screen here. It's Shaila, Shaila, at liftaestheticmarketing.com. We'll chat with you soon. Thank you.